Alexis Shaw, and I'm interviewing my dad, Jeff Shaw, about his life during the Vietnam War. Okay, Dad, were you or your family involved in any anti-Vietnam War riots or protests?
No.
No?
No.
Was anyone in your family serving in the Vietnam War?
No.
In your opinion, do you think that Nixon would have still won the election if Robert Kennedy was not shot?
Absolutely not.
Why?
Because of Kennedy's popularity. I didn't particularly like Kennedy, but he was very popular.
What was your opinion of Nixon after he secretly authorized the bombing of Cambodia in 1969?
Personally, I felt that he had to do it because he had to go after the North Vietnamese and go after where the supplies and the weapons were coming from. So he had to bomb Cambodia. I totally agree with that.
Were the events of this war discussed or recognized in your high school, or did people just pretend like it wasn't happening?
They pretty much pretended like it wasn't happening.
In your opinion, did the Civil Rights Act of 1964 change society in the way that it hoped to, or did people disregard it?
I think it depended on where you lived. I think in the North, where we were living at the time, it did have some positive changes. But in the South, it was rebelled against. People did not want to embrace it at all in the South.
Okay, and how did you personally feel about it?
I think that it was long overdue. I think that the color of a man or a woman's skin should have no bearing. So I was totally for it.
Okay, and about how old were you during the Vietnam War?
16 to 20.
Okay. Do you remember how your parents felt about the war?
My mom didn't really talk about it. My father was a veteran of World War II, and my father was for it.
Okay. Looking back on the Vietnam War, would you say that it was worthwhile for us to start it, or was it a waste of lives?
We didn't really start it. We went in after the French got beat, and we pretty much took their place over there. While it was going on, it seemed like it was very worthwhile, but I think now that you look back on what it accomplished, you could probably make a very good argument that it was a waste.
Okay. Do you think that the media helped the anti-war movement?
Absolutely.
How?
Because the media is very biased, and they seem to report, place a lot more emphasis on the atrocities that were committed than the positive effects that the war was having.
Okay. And I know that there were a lot of live footage on the news of the war.
Yes.
Did your parents allow you to watch that, or did they think it was not appropriate for you to view?
No, I was allowed to watch it.
And what did you think about them publicly broadcasting live footage?
I was for it. I think that I think people really needed to know what it was actually like to see a war. It was really one of the first wars that people could actually turn on their TV set and see what was happening. World War II, they relied on pictures. Korea relied on pictures. But Vietnam, you could actually turn on the TV and you could see what was happening in real time.
Okay, and in your opinion, do you think that the many Vietnam War riots helped settle issues, or did it just add fuel to the fire?
I think it didn't settle issues. It made people aware of issues. It brought awareness to certain issues that people either did not want to think about or did not know about.
Did you ever personally view a Vietnam War riot?
Did I ever view one?
Mm-hmm.
No. When I was in college, there were some small anti-war protests, but they were very, very small.
Okay. And was the public upset that Johnson did not run for re-election in 1968?
No, I don't think so.
Why?
I don't think anyone really liked Johnson. You know, Johnson got the job. He was Kennedy's vice president, and when Kennedy was assassinated, you know, he became the next in line. I think people felt that he didn't really earn it, and I also feel that Johnson knew that he would not win if he ran.
Okay. Did you ever worry that someone you knew serving in the war would be sent to Vietnam?
Absolutely. I had friends that were sent to Vietnam.
And did they survive?
Yes.
That's good. Would you say that your daily lifestyle was strongly affected by the events of the war?
No, I don't think it was.
No?
No.
Do you think that it affected the economy at all?
It was a positive for the economy because it stimulated government spending, and that's always good for the economy.
Did you ever get to hear Jane Fonda publicly speak about her views of the war?
Yes.
And what was your opinion about her visit to North Vietnam?
They should have left her in North Vietnam. I personally felt she was a traitor, and I don't think they should have let her come back to the U.S.
Okay. How do you personally feel about the war now that it's over?
I really think it was a mistake in the sense that the government did not allow the military to win. It was fought by politicians, and the politicians governed what the military could do, which was wrong. And if they wanted to actually win the war, they had plenty of opportunities to win it.
Okay. And did it worry you or your parents when China successfully tested the atomic bomb in October of 1964?
No, I mean, I was 12 years old. I remember seeing it or hearing about it, but I don't think it had an effect one way or the other that I can remember.
Do you think that other people around you worried about it, like neighbors or other family members?
Probably older people that were, I think the people that probably were more affected by it were veterans that served in World War II, and they saw the effects of the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and is it Nagasaki? I think it was Nagasaki.
Okay. And were the American people well informed of the plans of the U.S. military, or did you feel like you were left in the dark a lot?
I don't think the public has a right to know the plans of the military. If there is a war or conflict going on, I don't think the American people need to know to the detail that they're allowed to know, what you see on TV nowadays. So no, I don't think that. Personally, I don't think the public has the right to know.
Okay. What do you think was the impact of the media on any aspect of the war? Do you think that they made it worse, or do you think that they started rumors that made people in America think that the war was worse than it actually was?
The military or the media is in a unique position because they can show the public whatever they want to show the public, and they can record something and they can edit it and change it and make it appear any way they want. You're getting a very biased a report based on whatever media station you're watching. So it's not so much that they made it worse or they made it better. They were just very selective as to what they showed, and it's not that they were actually trying to make the public aware in an unbiased fashion. I just thought everyone had their own agenda.
Okay. And after the war, did you feel that the disrespect that was put towards the veterans of the war was right?
No, it was absolutely wrong. It was totally disgusting.
Do you know anyone personally who had to suffer through that kind of poor treatment?
Yes, I do, and it was totally uncalled for, total lack of disrespect.
What kinds of things would they do to the veterans?
Spit on them, ignore them, call them baby killers, things like that. It was very cruel and it was very wrong.
Okay. Well, that's all the questions I have. Thank you for letting me interview you, and that is my interview on Vietnam War.